Well, I'm in it now. So last week I came up to this general area just to kind of see what's been going on over the past 6 months or so that I haven't been out here. And I noticed that they cut down all the trees that had been marked for a few years. So I've been really eager to get farther up and deeper into the forest to see if they had cut all the marked trees in the areas, a lot of the areas I like to go, really far into the forest. So again, this is about 8 miles farther north, about 500 to 700 feet higher in elevation. As you can see, there's snow everywhere up here. So I'm over 7,000 feet here, and the snow that's here is just because it's really steep and it doesn't get a lot of sunlight all day long, so it's able to stick around longer. And it snowed a little bit a few days ago, but only for like a few hours. This snow here would have been from weeks ago, and it's 50 degrees and the wind's blowing, and the trail is super muddy. I've already thrown mud all over my windows. I don't have mud flaps, and these tires stick out past the fenders, so when I get into mud like this soupy stuff, it just throws it all over my side windows. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but you know, you just got to clean it off, whatever. So it's very interesting to see this much snow still up here. Now it's very thin, but it's enough to cover the edges. Now what I'm looking for is the area that I'm in right now is the area that I had talked about, these big piles of trees where they had cut probably 2 years ago. They let these piles sit for a year and a half, 2 years to dry out, I guess, and then they burn them in place, the Forest Service. Yeah, this flat area up here where there was a bunch of those gigantic, I mean, piles bigger than my Jeep. And it looks like, from what I can see, the piles are gone, and there is definitely charcoal type stuff on the ground. And the road is mush, man. I did put it in 4-wheel drive because going up the hill back there, I had a cliff on the right side of me, and I started sliding on the mud. This mud here in all of this area of northern Arizona has got a lot of clay in it. It's got a lot of clay in it, so if you've ever been on clay when it's wet, it's really, really slick. It's almost like ice, especially if it's hard packed underneath. You literally just you could push the vehicle and you just spin it out. So it's pretty interesting. You just got to be mindful of that and be careful. So yeah, they definitely burn these piles up here. They definitely burn the piles. Wow, what a mess. It looks like they cut a new road. This is a big flat, obvious clearing where a lot of those big piles of trees and underbrush were piled up for probably the last 2 years, and they definitely burnt those piles. This here was a big, gigantic mound right here, and they've burnt those piles. It's really soupy and sloppy up here, and it's very, very windy. What's strange here is it looks like, see that there's a road there that wasn't there before. It's possible when these Forest Service things come up here, they come up with the big like logging trucks and these gigantic trucks and bulldozers and everything else. They may have cut through here a new fire road. I don't see any new markers down, like naming the road or the trail, but that wasn't there before. This is the area where I always see deer. I always see deer through here, but it's very interesting. I'm gonna keep pushing forward. There's a big, very steep, nasty hill over here that I have to go down, and then to get back out, obviously I have to come up. It's gonna be a little dicey with this. There's the water in the mud is frozen. There's snow and there's mud. It's so steep though. I don't know, we're gonna see. It could get dicey, but this is the area here. Wow, the wind is really gusting. All right, so I've gotten to the edge of that area I was talking about. It looks pretty dicey, but we're gonna go for it because I need to get down this to get back in a few more miles to check out. Oh yeah, so it's straight downhill. It's got mud, snow, and ice, trees, and I'm already sliding. So as much as I'd like to go fast through here, and plus there's a couple of, like, there must have been fallen trees over the years, because there's these extreme, like, whoop-de-doos couple time. Oh yeah, the back end sliding. So it goes down, and as soon as you get to the bottom, it turns right, and if you don't make that turn, you're gonna go straight into a wall of rock. I'm literally on the brakes, kind of sliding and then letting off so they're not sliding. The scary thing is I gotta come back up this, right? There's a cliff right there. You got some trees to stop you. Oh, there's a nice river flowing down here. Or creek from all the, wait, that's the road. Okay, so the road is a creek because it's down in the bottom of a V. So everything's feeding down into here. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get back out of here. Like I said, there are at least there's one other way, but it's about 20 miles farther, and it lets me out 40 miles farther from where I need to ultimately be. Okay, I'm actually driving in the creek. Hey, this could clean off the mud. Well, I finally started to get back in here deeper. The mud is real. I should have known it. It rained it snowed a bunch, then it rained hard for days, and it hasn't had the time to dry out. But now that I'm a little bit farther in here, you can see right there is a giant pile into relation to the size of the Jeep. It's about 5 feet taller than the Jeep. It's a big pile. And this area back over here is where I'm gonna really start getting into a lot of the areas that I've camped, hiked, did my one-day lunch cookouts and stuff like that. So a little bit farther, probably 2 more miles up and over that hill, and I'll really be able to get to see how much they've done. So there's still some mark. This tree right here is marked, but there I see a big stump, and there's a few along the fire road here that are still marked. This tree right here is marked. It's marked right there. You might not be able to see it because the difference in shadows and light out here, it's really hard for the camera to pick it all up. Ginormous pile right there. So they've definitely come through and cleaned some of it out. It might be that once they got through here and the trees have been marked for a few years, they've reevaluated whether to cut those particular trees down. They were a little bit more selective of when they were in here cutting. So, well, as usual, I got myself in quite the predicament. I thought this was a trail when I turned on it back there, and it wasn't. It was where the machines had come up just to cut, and they didn't get all the wood, and now I've slid sideways down into a gully with big trees. I'm gonna have to go straight ahead here, which it goes down and then up, and then my trail is up there somewhere. But right in front of me, I've got some big tree stumps that I can't see. We're gonna have to drive over them and try. Oh shoot, that's big. Hopefully I don't pop a tire, because these things are pretty sharp where they cut them. That's gonna scratch my hood. All right. Jeez, I should have my damn lockers on for this. Hold on. All right, I engaged my lockers because this is straight uphill. Here we go. Oh. Wow. Well, because of all the new roads and stuff that are cut in here, the mud and the snow coverage and the trees, it's very hard for me to identify the road. So I took a different way. It looked like a freshly plowed road that they did. This one is going up and over this mountain. I'm wondering if this is the one that drops out back at that first area of piles that I said where I see the deer and that they burn them. This might go that way, but this is going straight uphill. It's real muddy, so I figured I'd film it at least. It's pretty nasty. Snow, ice, mud, and uphill. So we'll just cruise up this way. Now, I'm wondering if like, are they going to keep these roads now? Because they're defined. You know, you can see they've come through with a bulldozer and, you know, made a berm on the hill, on the downhill side, and the uphill side has like a wall, you know, where the blade would have cut out. So if they did, things start to heal, it's going to give me a lot more pathways to get to different areas, which is pretty cool. But for right now, it's just a mess. It's a soupy, sloppy mess of new dirt trails everywhere. But I am curious if the water's running down these hills too. Probably should have waited a little while after that big rain. I'm curious if this is the road is gonna drop off in that new area. Wow, I'm just spinning my wheels right here. It's pretty nasty. No, don't go in that trench. Trying to stay out of the deep ruts from the big trucks and trying not to get thrown off the side of the hill here, because obviously whoever came through before stayed on the uphill side. They didn't want to get too close to the downhill side, but they've made a bunch of, well, I'm in the trenches now, so oh yeah, hope I don't have to use my winch. Dry road on the right side, just soup on the left. Wow, I have just covered the left side of this Jeep. And underneath, I can't imagine the clunks of mud that are underneath this thing. Oh, there is ice on that one. Little ice. So this is a new, you know, bulldozered road that I haven't been on. Like I said, I don't know if they're going to keep these things. What are you supposed to do? How do you not keep it, right? Once it's here, if people are adventuring around back in here, they're going to see these, they're going to take them, and as people drive on the roads, they stay there, right? No growth, there's no trees. On this particular road, there's no stumps either. I saw some trees and stumps along the sides they've completely yanked out. That means to me that, oh, it goes up there too. It goes up to the top of the hill. What is that? It's a squirrel. I thought it was a rabbit. A rabbit. This would be some fun roads if it wasn't all muddy like this. I'm just like sliding sideways toward a tree. Oh, this is ice here. All right, so we've got another intersection here. I'm not sure where the heck I'm at. It feels like I've gone too far west for it to be the road that drops down there. This might come out, maybe, but there's a mine over here. It might drop down by the mine. I just don't want it to be too steep going down because it'd be really hard to control the momentum going down on this kind of road. It's pretty nasty. Starting to come into a flat area. And it looks like it is that new road that I saw at the beginning of the video when I first stopped. Because I stopped right over by that tree right there. That's interesting. So this goes up and around the mountain. The one thing it did let me do was bypass that really steep hill over there, which probably was going to be pretty nasty trying to come back up momentum wise. I would have had to really sling some mud. Yeah, I'm pretty caked up. I'm not sure. You know those power washer places? Man, they hate it when people come to those when you're full of mud because it gets all down in their drainage system, and that's bad. But I can't wash up my dang driveway. There's got to be some place. Go to the fire station, let them hit it with the fire hose. Usually out here, because it's so dry and hot all the time, it's always dust, really dusty, like really caked on dust. But that dust is nothing, right? It's these huge chunks of mud. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun driving around through there. I mean, I'm coming to terms with kind of, I don't want to say destruction, but you know, I'm coming to terms with the way they had to cut and all these different new roads they had to put in to be able to get their big machinery back in there. I think maybe over time, a little bit of time, it'll be, it might even be better. You know, it might be better. But it's going to take at least a year before they come back through and burn those big piles. And those big piles everywhere kind of suck, just looking at them. You know, I like to look out and look and see trees and rolling rocky hills. And now I look out and I see all these ginormous piles of trees. And so that's going to take some time to get through that. But again, this is just one small area of this district of the National Forest. There's no way they got to everything, not yet. So hopefully, if you know, thinking ahead, they did this area right back there, that flat area, 2 years ago, and now they just did this area. So maybe it'll be every 2 years they're going to come through and kind of destroy a section and give it time to heal, and that'll let you kind of leapfrog around to different areas, and you always have some nice areas to go. The beauty of it, though, is I think I have five national forests. Well, there's more than that, but real close to me: Coconino, Prescott, Tonto. There's a couple over there. They're kind of partially on Indian reservations and stuff. It's on the east side of the 17. Is a couple more, and there's a lot more bear over there too, so I'm probably gonna do some adventuring over in there. I need to learn that area. I don't know it at all, but it's about 100-mile drive to get over to it and then get in there and see what's going on. So, well, that's gonna do it for me. I don't know, I'm still a little bit up in the air about how I feel, but I knew it was coming. They had to trim these trees back. Maybe when it's not muddy. Well, definitely I'm going to come back through here when it's not muddy and see how I feel about it then. All right, you guys, thanks for joining me.